Good afternoon, everybody out there in YouTube land. My name is Jared, and this is my channel, Mazda B3K. And in this video, we are going to dig into replacing the hydraulic clutch line, the rubber line, and the hydraulic clutch slave cylinder on my 1995 Mazda Miata MX-5, which is in that tent behind you. Without further ado, let's get started. All right, so I was driving the Miata, made around a turn, and then I lost all authority on the clutch. Could not shift, couldn't do anything. So I figured I had a leak, probably in the clutch system. So I decided to do some investigation. Please ignore this super foul clutch fluid. This is supposed to be .3 brake fluid, but I think I got it from the swamps of Dagobah. Lord knows where that came from. I gotta flush that out. But anyway, this is your clutch master, okay? This is the clutch master cylinder. This is where your reservoir is. And then you're gonna go on a little bit of a journey to find the rest of your clutch system. So you follow this hard line. It goes across the top of the firewall. And then it is this fella here. And it goes into this soft line right here. And this soft line, so this soft line, as you can see, it goes down to a hard line connection down near the transmission. And I know it's very hard to see here, but that's super rusted up. So I thought that was the problem. But I wanted to get some fluid through this to verify it, right? So then I came to look down here, because wedged down here deep, in fact, I'm not really, there we go. So, see that guy right there? That is the bleeder on your clutch slave cylinder. And fortunately, Mazda put the slave cylinder to be external to the transmission. Some manufacturers, Ford, likes to put this internal, so you have to drop the transmission to change this. But Mazda makes it external, and then they even put a bleeder on it so you can bleed it like you do a brake. So that's what I did. I cracked this open, let it bleed, and what I found is that once I finally got it to start bleeding, because I drained it dry, the reservoir was empty when I limped it home. Right there, where that rubber lip meets the rusty cylinder, it's dripping brake fluid. It's not supposed to drip brake fluid there. So what that tells me is what actually failed here is a seal on my slave cylinder. That is the reason why I lost all clutch authority, because it started to spew brake fluid, and then nothing could push the fingers on the pressure plate to separate the engine and the transmission. And there you go. So what we're going to do today, well, not today, but when I have the parts in, is we're going to go ahead and replace this. It's just a good thing to do. I think this is the original line. And as I mentioned, the other end is really rusty and crusty, and I don't like that. And then we're going to fix our actual culprit down yonder, our hydraulic clutch slave cylinder. Good morning, everyone. Today is a new day. I'm not awake yet. Please bear with. So where we're going to pick things up is we need to remove our slave cylinder. As you can see, there's 2 bolts, and we've got a brake line we got to get loose. In order to do that, your best access is taking off the front passenger wheel, and then you can come in behind it to do stuff. And that's what we're going to do. So first things first, we get the brake line loose. After that, we take those 2 bolts out. And I think the slave just kind of falls out at that point. All right, so I grabbed a 10mm flare wrench. And that appears to be the ticket. Getting this out, you want to grab a flare wrench if you can, because you will be very, very sad if you accidentally strip this. because then you're going to be making a new brake line. And I've made enough brake lines to know that I don't ever want to make brake lines unless I absolutely have to, because it's kind of terrible. Now, one thing to keep in mind, this is going to leak, right? As soon as you get this line free, if you have any fluid left in the master, it's going to pee all over the place. I'm fine with that, but if you're not fine with that, get yourself a catch pan. Take care of it. Hopefully I can get this loose enough I can just go at it with my fingers. I'm glad that this is an external slave, but still not the easiest thing to get to. And when we go to put this back on, we're going to want to get the brake line on first, then bolt it in. You'll thank me later. Anyway, I'm going to get that out of the way, and then we'll deal with the bolts. All right. Let's see, these are 12 millimeters. I don't know how tight they are. We're gonna find out. Okay, not bad. And there is a frame rail in the way for that bottom one. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna have to get up close and personal with that one, but we'll get this out. Yeah. Oh, it's kind of crusty. I need to clean that one out. Interesting. Well, that second bolt wasn't real fun to get. I had to get my flexi ratchet out. But here we are. This is our slave clutch cylinder. And it would be whatever seal is sitting here is what gave up. I get the impression there's supposed to be a seal in there and that shouldn't be full of brake fluid. And that seal in there gave up. So that's that. This is the actual problem. All right, replacement parts. This is made by A Premium. I've used their stuff in the past. It's been decent. So you get your slave cylinder, and then the actual push rod always seems to be disconnected. I'm not sure why, but there you go. And then Dorman. Your choices were Dorman or Sunsong, basically. There you have it. Okay. Hopefully my tripod will hang on just a little bit longer so that we can do the needful here. Because it just decided to up and die on me. Make sure that you take the little rubber stopper out of the brake line before you go to try to get this all shoved in. Okay, this is still going to be super annoying. Okay, so that's... I can't see what I'm doing. Okay, that's the schnoz. And then that needs to move a little bit. I need the schnoz to seat. It appears to be seated. Okay, so it needs to compress. Okay. We're compressing. We're close to where we need to be, but not quite there. Oh man. Okay, so got to compress that. But even compressing that, I cannot make that happen. So I think one thing to note, these bolts, the thing bolts in at an angle. It's not flush up and down. So before you've completely tightened that top bolt there, you're going to want to start to thread in your bottom and kind of bring that one in. Otherwise, if you just slam in the top one, you're not going to get the bottom lined up, because you're going to have some resistance from that brake line that you already have installed. So I discovered something. This is our old rod. This is our new rod. You notice something? It's too long. So it looks like the slave cylinder itself is fine, but this is the wrong rod. So we are going to use the old rod. There's nothing in particular wrong with it. I'm going to clean it off, but we'll try putting that in. And then the brake line that I bent, which you should never bend a brake line, because remember what I talked about with tube nuts? Yeah, that's going to come haunt my dreams here shortly. But we're going to try it with that, see if I can actually get it to go in. All right, here we go again. Oh, bloody. I didn't want this to be a family-friendly channel, the words I would be saying right now. Okay. Alright, where's my bolt? There's my bolt. What do you know? It lines up. It's still gonna be awkward. Try to get a bolt in, but I can't see. But it lines up. Come on. I cannot see. Ooh, camber bolt. Alright, so the problem here... Oh, that's it. Come on, I just need a little more compression. Come on. Just hold it until I get the top bolt in. Okay. There are moments like these where I wish I had a lift. Oh. Okay. Okay. Come on. Yeah, so we're off a hair. I can see it. Come on. Gotcha. I think I did. Yeah, okay. All right, we have everything in, so now we need to try to get fluid back through the line. For that, I have an assistant who is going to be pushing the clutch pedal for me, and hopefully we can force fluid through, because if you look at the line, it actually has to go uphill first. So I'm going to ask my assistant to go ahead and pump it a bunch of times. And you can probably hear him pumping the pedal. Okay, and stop. And after he stops, I'm gonna crack the brake line, the bleeder, on the slave cylinder here, and we're gonna see if we can't get some fluid through. We might have to do some silly stuff like use air pressure from the master cylinder reservoir and shove fluid through, but we'll see. Oh. Yeah, I didn't see the fluid level drop at all, so we're probably going to need to pull a vacuum on it. So let me go get that stuff. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to, and this will probably only work so because I don't have tape on the threads there, but we're going to try to use vacuum and pull fluid through. Which I'm starting to get some. This is not going to make a perfect vacuum. You're going to get air coming through the threads, but the point of this exercise is to try to get, oh, I hit the release on accident, is to try to get fresh fluid coming in from the master reservoir. Which so far, what we've pulled through is junky, nasty stuff. And then there's a bunch of air we got to get out. We might be pulling good fluid now. It looks like we are. I mean, there's a ton of air, but I think we're pulling good fluid now. So, if that be the... Okay, we're going to try this again now that I have wrangled the snake. Which is why my wife needed me. Tighten this up so that we can get a good pump going on. All right, go ahead and pump it, Galen. Aha. Look at that. It's doing stuff. Okay, go ahead and stop pumping. So what we're doing now is we're bleeding the clutch and we're getting that air out. We use the vacuum pump to get it started. But we want to make sure we have really good flow. Okay, Galen, I want you to push it down and hold it down. Hold it until I say. Keep it held down. Can you let it up? Okay, pump it a few times. Okay, hold it down on your next pump. Keep it held down. Okay, that looked really good. The idea is we want to do this till we don't see air bubbles. Okay, you can let it go. Go top off the master, and then I think we're good. Okay, so here's our real test. So the problem before was this, I believe the seal in the slave cylinder failed, right? So it was like this, even with the clutch down. You could not shift, you could not move. Now, clutch down. Let's see, is reverse gonna go? Oh, there it goes. Yeah. 4, there's 5 first. Yeah. Now we have clutch and we can shift. So that problem's solved. But like I said, I want to go ahead and replace that one rubber line while I'm already down here and doing all this. So let's go tackle that now. All right, so here is the brake line in question. It's a little rubber line. It's so that as the transmission's bouncing around, you don't snap a hard line. That's the reason why it's here. And the other end of it, a little hard to see, but it is kind of buried right there. And that's the side that's going to stink. That's the one that's going to be a real pain in the butt to get loose and put back on. So what holds these in place? We have, of course, our tube nut. It's probably a 10 millimeter. That's not too bad. But what holds it in place is this retaining clip right here, okay? And this is fairly similar to a Ford retaining clip. So here's the thing. If you're not comfortable that you can get this clip out in one piece, then don't start this yet until you buy some more retaining clips. Okay, so I got the retaining clip out. This is exactly how I did it. I had some needle nose pliers that fit real nice into the top there, and I just pulled it out. Okay, quick memo, I forgot. You want to break this loose before you take the retainer out, but I shoved that back in, took care of that. And there you go. That's how that works. But now we got to go do it on the side where nobody can see anything. You have no room to maneuver. And it's just generally going to stink. But we're going to go do that. And I'll get back with you. All right. Ta-da! That was entirely not fun. But you can see this is why I wanted to pull it. That's gotten really rusty. And I figure it was only a matter of time before it failed. So real quickly, what I wound up having to do to get this off, I pulled the retaining clip, and this is a 17 millimeter right here. And I put a wrench on that. I had to shove it up, put a wrench on that, and then I got my 10 millimeter for the tube nut, and I pulled them in opposite directions. That gives you a whole lot more freeing power than just pulling on one side. And that I had just enough swing room to pop it loose. So that's what we got to do there. So that way you don't, do things like break this thing half loose, because I was trying to get more swing room and there was none to be had. But all right, that is out. So reinstallation is the reverse of disassembly. We're going to get this side in first because it's an evil little dude. And then we'll do the easy side. And I'll show you the reassembly on the easy side because I can't get a camera in there. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I've got the hard one out of the way. Let's do the easy one. So first thing we want to do is, I know you probably can't see a lot from the angle that I've got you at. We want to get our tube nut in. That's first and foremost. Get it to line up, drop in. We don't necessarily need to make it tight, but we need to get it in. Okay? Then oh, you know what? This has got the shape thing going on, don't it? Nah, it doesn't. All right. Some brake lines, they'll be shaped in a certain way so they can only go in a certain way. But now that I look at this one, it does not have that feature. Thank goodness. All right, we have witness marks as to where our retaining clip needs to go. And it will fight you on the way in. just how it is. It's supposed to be a tight fit, so don't be surprised if it fights. Also, don't be surprised if half of it don't want to go in. It's a battle. But if you happen to get it most of the way in, you can then do things like get a mallet, finish knocking it in, which I may not have enough room to swing. There. Okay, and so now that the line is locked into position, you can take your 10mm and finish tightening it up. Like so. Okay, last step, which I'm not going to show again because you've already seen it, is we now have to rebleed the clutch line because we just introduced a bunch of air by swapping out a line. And also the additional thing we have to do this time is, as we get somebody working the clutch and putting pressure in the line, making sure we have both of our ends tight enough that they do not leak, that our fittings do not leak. So, not going to show you that. I'm going to go ahead and do it, and I'll touch back with you on results. Okay, we are done with my son's help. I got it bled. I had to use my vacuum bleeder again to kind of get things rolling, but we're good. We're not leaking from here. And that's it. We've changed out this line. Hopefully I don't have to change it out again for another 220,000 miles. We changed out the slave cylinder. Hopefully I don't have to get into that again because that bottom bolt is not going to be a happy camper. But mission success. We are done. If you made it this far, pat yourself on the back. Go get a cookie. Thanks for watching this long. I really appreciate it.